universe beneath ours.
Hey everyone, welcome to Fandango's exclusive interview with the cast of Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. My name is Erik Davis. I am so beyond thrilled to be here, kicking off the MCU's Phase 5 in spectacular fashion. And joining me is this awesome group of people, the cast of Quantumania. Welcome everyone.
Thank
How's
you.
it going? Hello. First off, Paul, Evangeline, congrats on making it to the Part 3. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it was really exciting to do. I think we were all pretty thrilled that we got to do another one. So, and then to add these guys, it was really special.
Yeah, I mean, Paul, for you personally, coming this far in your journey as a Marvel superhero, and then to arrive at this installment, which happens to be such a pivotal one in Phase 5, I mean, what does that mean for you? You're dual saga now. So are you.
Oh, that's a bar.
Dual
Yes,
saga.
Dual Saga.
Wow.
It's a bit surreal, in all honesty. You know, the MCU is such an enormous thing and has such a following globally. Just to be a part of it in any way it can be overwhelming. And then to have now been able to do this a few times and over the course of several years it never ceases to kind of blow my mind.
Right on. Evangeline, what kind of a Part 3 would you say this is? I've heard it described as really Part 1 of Phase 5. I've heard it described as a family road trip. How would you kind of define this adventure?
I would define it as a collision between the Ant-Man and the Wasp franchises we've come to know and love it, and the greater Marvel franchise, as people have come to expect this grand epic scale from that franchise. And in ours, it's just this beautiful, intimate, character-driven family story, and I love seeing those two worlds collide together in this one film.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to get into your characters and where we pick up with them, but first, Kathryn, the character of Cassie Lang is not unfamiliar to MCU fans, but this is the first time we're going to see her suit up as a hero alongside Ant-Man and the Wasp, and this is your first time playing her. We all like a good MCU origin story. Tell us about how you first found out that you were going to be joining this massive Marvel Cinematic Universe, and what that was like for you, that moment.
That moment, I got a phone call. I was in my closet. And I talked to Peyton Reed, our super mega positron director, and he told me about Cassie Lang. It was just a meeting, and he told me her whole journey and the hero that she wants to be, and I was like, this movie is going to be awesome. And it was awesome, and so it's an honor to play Cassie. And I think it was like way better than I could have imagined. I was just telling Paul, I'm like, every movie I do is going to be so boring now. It can't compare. And to get to be in a movie where Kang, the next villain, she has no idea what she's doing. Cassie Lang has no idea what she's doing. She wants to be a hero, and she's face to face with the biggest supervillain of all time. It's just, she's going to learn some lessons.
Biggest supervillain of all time. That is how I have heard Kang the Conqueror described, as the most powerful villain that the MCU has ever seen. Mr. Jonathan Majors, sir, let me ask you this. When you sign on to a role like Kang that involves multiple variations of a character spanning several years, there is an Avengers movie on the docket that's got his name in the title, so we know he's going to be around for a while. How familiar with that entire journey are you up front? Do you know his entire story all the way through, or do you get it more piecemeal?
I get it piecemeal, the initial call and explaining the character. There's so much promise in the role. There's so much promise in the overarching company of the MCU. So that in and of itself is like, okay, let's roll, let's do this, and that's the promise. I mean, these dual saga members, I knew I was coming to join them. I know they're bringing in new classes, as we're all watching. Yeah, I mean, I get it piecemeal, but the promise of every day on set, every scene, there's a epic promise of like, you're Kangin', you're Kangin', and so that's just the best.
I feel like we're going to see a lot of kids in Kang costumes looking to conquer Halloween come October.
Yeah.
Have you had any like really awesome fan experiences so far?
Just, walking down the street and someone say, Kang! And then I look up and I go, what? What's up? That's all. It's early yet, and they got to see the picture and all that stuff. people are excited, you know. I mean, I guess when we were all in Brazil, you know, and of course the San Diego Comic-Con, you know, just the iconography of him, the mythology of him. When we came out in Sao Paulo, it was just nuts,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nuts.
Raging.
Raging. So that was
Yeah,
great.
That's the
That was great.
MCU.
Yeah.
You know, so let's talk about these characters when we kind of come into this story. You know, Paul, Evangeline, where are Scott and Hope? I feel like Scott's got a podcast. He's got like a book. He's like employee of the century. You know, him and Hope are going to like galas. They're all dressed up. Like, are they maybe milking this being in the Avengers a little bit, the celebrity of it all a little bit? Where are these two when we pick up their story here?
I don't know if we're really milking it. I mean, certainly, I think Hope has bigger fish to fry. I mean, Hope is certainly doing a lot of good for the world and using the company to try and deal with some real world issues. I think for me, it's not that I'm milking it, but I think my main concern, which has always been, I think Scott's main concern, is being able to spend some time with his daughter and connect. Scott's missed a lot of time over the last several years, but he does have to make a living. So why not write a book? And,
He might be milking it a little.
And Evangeline, tell us about Hope, because, you know, I feel like Hope has come, and both of these characters were coming in at a high point, really. You know, we've come into Scott's life when he's really low, and Hope has kind of reunited with her father and her mother. And so where is Hope, and what does her journey look like this time around?
Well, she's a completely different person than when we first met her in the first Ant-Man film. At that time, she was closed, she was cold, she was very isolated. She'd had her heart broken at a very young age and had just remained a bit of a fortress ever since then. And in the journey that she's gone on in these films, she has really allowed the ice around her heart to melt as she has repaired her relationship with her father, as she has brought her mother back from the quantum realm, as she has fallen in love, and then also as she has sort of taken on this mantle of stepmother to Cassie. So now her life is the polar opposite of where it was when we first met her. Her life is full of intimacy and relationship. And she also has all the success she ever dreamed of and a super suit. So, I mean, nothing can touch her at this point. She's like on top of the world.
And then the quantum realm happens.
And then the quantum realm. Dun, dun, dun.
Kathryn, who is Cassie when we pick up with her in this film? Because it seems, at least based on the footage that we've seen so far, she's kind of gotten into the family business a little bit. She's making some things, maybe separate from her family, and it seems like the thing that she created or helped create is what ultimately kicks this story into high gear.
This is her fault, yeah. She's definitely thought that she was doing the right thing, and it's all her fault. She should have listened to her dad, but I think deep down she kind of wants to be like her dad, even though she'll never admit it. And don't ask her, because she'll never say it's because of him. But she's following in her dad's footsteps. She wants to be like him, or at least she wants him to be proud of her. And, you know, he believes in her, and that's all it takes is one person to believe in you. And she's really just a mess, though. Tripping, impatient, really funny. You know, a dork. She was not ready, but she thinks she is. She's impatient.
I love it. Not ready, wants to be a hero, but maybe not ready yet.
Not ready because she doesn't understand what it means to be a hero. Like, she doesn't understand what it's like to deal with a villain. And, like, now she's face to face with Kang, and she's gotten all the people she loves in trouble. She had no idea that was going to happen, and it did.
Jonathan, face to face with Kang. Who is Kang when we meet him in this film?
Well, they come down to the quantum realm, you know. The quantum realm is my current domain. That's where I am, you know. And as the title says, I've conquered it. And so he's a man isolated, just there, working it out.
Working it out.
Working it
but
out.
talked about, like, I mean, he is supposed to be the most powerful villain that the MCU has ever seen. Where does that power come from?
Where's that power come from? Well, I mean, here's the thing with villains, right? Or with any character, but particularly with villains that, yes, there is the manifestation of the power, but the internal power is really the drive, you know. And I think with Kang, something that I found so interesting is that his pain and suffering and discomfort and frustration with society and the world and that is so great in him that friction has allowed him to make himself into the supervillain that you see. It is that internal friction that gives him that power. Now, how it manifests, stay tuned. But yeah, his heartache is great, and I think is so massive. He does live up to that that title of being the biggest, baddest
Yeah.
MCU villain that we've had. Yeah.
Biggest bad. You know what? This has been described as a family road trip, so I thought it would be really funny to get to know the quantum realm through like a quick travel review. So, if you could just name like one good, really good thing or really bad thing about the quantum realm, as if you were writing a travel review for the next family that's going to road trip through the quantum realm, what would you say? I'll start with
Well,
you.
when you arrive, you have to drink some goo, and then you can get along and talk to people.
Oh, so you have to drink something in order to kind of,
It's goo.
it's goo.
It's like red goo. I got the red goo. You got the green goo?
I don't know.
We'll see. So there's some gooey.
They get a beverage, We have 7-Eleven. They have goo.
All right, so we got some goo as we arrive, and that I imagine that's maybe a baddish kind of.
I think it tasted great, and then you can understand everybody, and they can understand you.
Okay.
So,
That's cool.
yes.
What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I think I would say you get to meet some really interesting people. You get to meet some really interesting things that might be people.
Right.
And experience cultures that
true.
you've never known existed.
Okay.
And the food is great.
The food is good.
Oh,
right?
the restaurants.
Oh my
The
God.
restaurants.
Delicious.
Only we could take everybody to the restaurants in the quantum realm. My advice for the travelers would be sleep with one eye open. That's it. Keep your wits about you. Because I can't tell you about the quantum realm.
Jonathan, there's a lot of circles. We see a lot of circles in the quantum realm, which I imagine may be a manifestation of what time is circular, potentially.
That's what you.
That's what I think, but we'll see. What would be your good or bad review of the quantum realm?
Good or bad? I mean, both. Yeah, both. If I would give any, my blog would be Pack Light.
Pack light.
Good advice. Yeah,
Pack Light.
I feel that.
Good goo.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people come into Marvel movies and they're always like, I wonder how many like Easter eggs or cameos they're going to be, especially when we're in the multiverse and the quantum realm. If you were to give, on the scale of 1 to 10, where maybe 10 is like, it's going to blow your mind, what would we say? Paul, what?
For people that are aware, I think we have some good ones in there, some really good ones. I'm obviously not going to tell you what they are, but I think the ones that people find out about or learn about they would think would be a 10.
It would be a 10. Ooh. Visually, this film also looks tremendous. I'm personally going to go see it in 3D. It feels like that kind of film. Maybe as audiences, this is the start of Phase 5. This is the start of something big that's coming. As audiences are maybe walking out of this film, I mean, what do you hope they're taking away from this installment? Jonathan?
I can speak to how I hope they feel. I hope they feel that the way I feel and the way I felt when they said wrap and they sent us all home. Fulfilled, emboldened, excited, really excited for what's coming, extremely satisfied with what they saw, but excited for what these heroes and this villain have just done, and emboldened to see the next picture and the next picture and the next picture and follow our MCU heroes and villains, for throughout this phase and into the next.
Well, I personally cannot wait to see this film. I wish you all the luck in the world on it. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank
us.
you.
It was great. Thank you.
Wicked.
But good.